Hey guys, this is Rifa here and welcome to my new video. I've been using the 16-inch MacBook Pro for almost 6 months and this is my review. Before I begin, I have to let you guys know that I have been a PC guy and I have never used a Mac before I bought this one. Also, I want to share what led me to buy one. I had an iPad Pro and an iPhone, and before I bought my TV, I primarily used my HP Spectre for media consumption and my personal work, which is a pretty good laptop itself, but it wasn't tied to my other mobile devices. And I knew for a long time that AirDrop, iMessage, and accepting calls on MacBook is really good. But that wasn't enough for me to go out and buy an expensive machine. Then one day I wanted to build some mobile apps, and I was looking at the requirements, and I came to know that to build an iOS app, you need a Mac. That is when I decided, okay, let's get a MacBook. And around this time, the 16-inch MacBook Pro was released, and it was the first 16-inch laptop from Apple in a long time. And I needed a bigger screen compared to the 13-inch laptop I had. And I also read that they fixed the keyboard, and I was like, okay, I'm sold. The 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Hey yo, hold up.
Who are you?
I'm your conscience, dude.
What is wrong with you? Why are you dressed like that? And what do you want?
How many apps have you created till now?
Listen, this pandemic is not over yet, and this video is about MacBook Pro. And again, what is wrong with you?
You still haven't answered my question.
What is that?
How many apps, yo?
Oh yeah, that? None. Happy? Can you go now?
Ignore him.
The 16-inch MacBook Pro isn't just the most powerful MacBook Apple's ever made. It's also the best MacBook you can buy. This is a very well built machine and one of the best laptops I have ever used. Actually, this is the best laptop I have ever used. Let's talk about the design. Design wise, the new 16-inch MacBook Pro doesn't seem much different from the other MacBooks. It is a bit thicker than the older 15-inch MacBook Pro, but it is not noticeable. It has clean lines all around. And we have always known that Apple's mantra has always been, it should be beautiful too. And the 16-inch MacBook Pro 100% fulfills that. Even though this is a 16-inch machine, you can open this with one hand without any support, and you get greeted with this large spectacular screen, which has a resolution of 3072 by 1920 at 226 pixels per inch. It may seem really big when we say 16-inch, but it doesn't actually feel that big. I mean, it is bigger than my 13-inch laptop, but it doesn't feel like you're looking at a giant screen, thanks to the much thinner bezels surrounding the screen. These are not as thin and dramatic as Dell's XPS, but they are great compared to the yesteryear MacBook Pros. One of the defining features of this MacBook is its keyboard. Unlike the previous MacBook Pros and the infamous butterfly switch keyboard, the new 16-inch MacBook Pro has scissor switches. Simply put, it has a new and improved keyboard, which is a dream to use. Not only does the new keyboard avoid the issues of the previous versions, it allows the 16-inch MacBook Pro to stay slim and not feel bulky. Slim laptops can often suffer from shallow key travel, which makes the keyboard unsatisfying and uncomfortable to type on. In other words, the greater the travel, the more tactile and responsive the keyboard feels. The key travel on this MacBook is 1mm, and because of its greater key travel, the MacBook Pro 16-inch has the best keyboard on a MacBook. Further tweaks to the keyboard include shortening the touch bar and including a physical escape key. This might not be a big difference to a lot of people out there, but for many, especially coders, this is a welcome change. Apple believes in the touch bar, and if apps take advantage of it, it will be a great asset. But I hardly use it except when I want to play with it or adjust the brightness or volume. You will still get the F1 to F12 when you press the function key. It is great and good to look at, but it can be the reason you buy a MacBook Pro. Then there is this Touch ID button, which allows you to log into MacBook Pro or authorize Apple Pay. The directional keys have the classic inverted T layout and lets people hit those keys without having to look. Before we move on, we should talk about the trackpad, which is comically big. I mean, look at this. It is larger than my iPhone 11 Pro and there is more space left. But jokes aside, this is the best trackpad on any laptop. I loathe using trackpads on Windows machines, and that is the reason I have a mouse. But this trackpad has force touch detection and it clicks anywhere you click. Apple does better than anybody at palm rejection, which makes this trackpad such a joy to use. And gestures are really great, and you don't feel like using a mouse. Let's talk about the internals. Usually, when you have powerful laptops from other companies, they don't usually promise a great battery life. But this 16-inch MacBook Pro is an exception. It comes with a 100 watt-hour battery, which is the maximum FAA will allow on flights, and when I'm using just for productivity and web browsing, it lasts me a whole day. And Apple has included this 96-watt charging brick to power up this MacBook Pro. My favorite part of the MacBook Pro is the speakers. It comes with some really good speakers, like really good. They're the best I have ever heard on a laptop. It has 3 speakers on each side, 2 of which are woofers designed to cancel out each other's vibrations. It means that speakers can get much louder without the displeasing tinny sound. Music sounds fantastic, and watching movies and TV shows is also a highlight. I have used laptops before where we had branding like Bang & Olufsen or Beats Audio, but in the end they were all just some marketing gimmick. But that's not the case here. This laptop can get super loud. It still won't fill a room like some Bluetooth speakers, but you will be seriously impressed if you sit in front of it. And it should be enough for anyone who listens to audio at a normal decibel level. Apple has also improved the microphone. It is great and better than the competition, but it's not studio quality like Apple has advertised. 16-inch MacBook Pros have a lot of power inside them. These can be configured starting with 9th Gen Intel Core i7 or i9 processors with 6 or 8 cores. And for the first time ever, it can be configured with up to 16 to 64 GB of RAM, and storage starts at 512 GB, and you can load it up with up to 8 TB of SSD and eliminate any need for any external storage. Also, it has AMD Radeon Pro 5000M series graphic cards, and these updates make this laptop a seriously formidable performer when it comes to graphic intensive tasks. The performance on this laptop is amazing, and this MacBook Pro just flies. It boots up faster, there is no lag or stutter with macOS Catalina feeling quick and smooth, and apps load in a flash. Any software that takes better advantage of the GPU will see much bigger gains in performance. So the gist is, the performance is there, but unless you know your software can take full advantage of the GPUs, you might not see some life-altering improvements. Thermals are great, and this is a very quiet laptop, but these fans definitely kicked in when I started rendering a 4K video. Apart from that, it was quiet as a mouse. macOS Catalina has some really great features which are carried over from previous macOS, and some really defining features like Sidecar, which allows you to use an iPad as a second screen. There are a number of creative apps that allow you to use the iPad along with the Apple Pencil to control the apps. However, it also requires an iPad, which is an additional expense. So you must be thinking, he's just going on and raving about this laptop. Isn't there anything that could have been done better? The answer is yes. There are a couple of things Apple could have implemented if they wanted, but they have the courage to remove something, but they don't have the courage to put it back. Yes, I am talking about the port selection. There are 4 Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports and an audio jack on this MacBook. Now I understand the future is just one port and one cable, but we are not there yet completely. These ports are perfectly fine for regular users with modern peripherals and with the right connectors. Because the 16-inch MacBook Pro is aimed at professionals, the lack of ports is frustrating. If it had a standard USB port along with memory card reader, it would have been a much more versatile device. Instead, you'll need to buy an adapter like the SATA USB-C hub, which is not an elegant solution, and it is an added expense. There's one more thing where Apple could have done better on the hardware. It is the webcam. It's still a piddly 720p camera, and I mean it is okay, not bad, but not great either. So what about the pricing? It starts at $23.99 for the base configuration, that is 6-core i7, 16GB RAM, 512GB SSD, and AMD Radeon Pro 5300M graphics. And if you're crazy enough, you can max it out to top-end internals and shell out $66.99. The version I have is 8-core i9, 16GB RAM, 1TB SSD, and AMD Radeon Pro 5500M graphics, which is what I think most people will buy, and it costs $27.99. But I got it for $24.99 from Best Buy after a discount of $300. There are always offers going around on Amazon, Best Buy, and B&H where you can see the 16-inch MacBook Pro discounted up to $300. Here are my final thoughts. Buy this MacBook Pro only if you are looking for the most powerful MacBook, an all-day battery workstation, and if you are looking to retire your older MacBook Pros and want more from the newer ones. But don't buy it if you are on a tight budget. I mean, these are some really expensive machines, and I know a lot of people buy MacBooks because they look cool, and if you're one of those, you can just buy a MacBook Air. Or don't buy it if you don't need the power. Sometimes even I feel like this is an overkill until I start rendering videos at 4K. Or if you like Windows. I mean, macOS Catalina has some really good features and it's not difficult to get a hang of, but Windows is much easier to use. So there we go. That's all for this review, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Please leave any feedback you have in the comment section below. If you liked this video, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends, and stay tuned for my next video. Have a great day. Stay safe.